You know, people have been screaming at us about Canelo getting whooped by Crawford. And what I mean by us is not just Canelo fans, but Mexican boxing fans in general. Because boxing is basically like this. It's a sanctioned race war now, where there's no real boxing fans anymore. It's just people that, oh, I'm Mexican, so I only root for Mexican fighters. Oh, I'm black, so I only root for black fighters. Oh, I'm white, so I root for Eastern European fighters. You know, oh, I'm Asian, so I'm a rock with the Filipino and Japanese fighters. You know, it's become like this sanctioned race war. And you know what? I'm just gonna say this. For everybody that's been screaming at us on Twitter for the past 2 months that Crawford whooped Canelo with smiley emojis. Let me just tell you right now, Ortiz versus Lubin. Watch that fight, because that's what an actual ass whooping looks like. I just had to get that out. I already tweeted that. Lalo THR here. Big congrats to Virgil Ortiz. That dude is a monster, man. And you know, I already knew that. This isn't brand new to me. This isn't a revelation. Like, it's not now people that were calling Ortiz overrated and this, now they've seen the light. Now they're coming out on social media. The ones that are being real with themselves anyway. They're coming out on social media now and they're admitting, damn, Ortiz really is the real deal. Oh shit, this dude is the truth. I didn't know. Well, now you know. I've been known. Because just going through Madrimov and Bohachuk in reverse order, Bohachuk and then Madrimov, just those fights alone. And yes, motherfuckers, haters, he won those fights. There was no controversy. There was no, oh, I thought he lost that. Nah. He got up off the canvas and he whooped Bohachuk. He dominated him. I don't care if he got dropped twice or whatever. They did that weirdo, like, it kind of like in soccer when they do VAR, when they check if it was a goal or not, they actually used instant replay to confirm whether it was a knockdown or not. I've never seen that done before or since, by the way. I don't know if that's a Riyadh season thing, because if I'm not mistaken, that fight actually took place in Saudi Arabia. It was a Turkey card, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, people throw that around, but bro, that's one of the things I hate about boxing is, like, if a fighter gets dropped in a fight, they automatically assume, I'll put it to you like this. Marquez got dropped 3 times by Manny Pacquiao in their, he was either their first or their second fight. He got dropped 3 times and he still arguably won that fucking fight, and I believe he did. That's my, you know, whenever they post those memes, like, what hot take, as a boxing fan, what hot takes get you this, and you know, all the swords pointed at that guy, the animated character. Well, that's my hot take. I truly believe that Marquez beat Manny Pacquiao in all of their fights, not just the one where he knocked Pacquiao the fuck out to not let it go to the judges, but I truly believe he beat Pacquiao in all of their fights. But I digress. Just because a fighter gets dropped does not mean, oh man, now he's gonna have to do a lot to... Man, he got up off that canvas and he whooped Bohachuk. The whole fight, he landed the cleaner punches. He landed the more harder body punches. He was more aggressive, more active. I mean, whatever. You can make any arguments you want to make, but it's official. Ortiz smashed through Bohachuk and then he smashed through Madrimov. Now, he just beat Erickson Lubin, who is arguably an even more dangerous opponent than both Madrimov and Bohachuk. This is one of the most impressive 3-fight stretches for a young, tough contender that's being, like, pushed that I've seen in a long time. Honestly, real talk. This is one of the most impressive streaks I've seen in a long time. You know, this is a guy that doesn't even hold a fucking title belt. And that's another thing. I'm ranting. That's another thing that haters that are gonna throw around. Oh, well, Ortiz never fought for a title. He don't hold a title. who gives a fuck about these paper titles? A, B, C, D, WBO, WBC, IBF, IBO, Junior, Super, this, that. These fucking alphabet titles don't mean shit, especially when they're held by Xander Zayas and Sebastian Fundora. Bro, Bohachuk and Madrimov, never mind Erickson Lubin, Bohachuk and Madrimov are both more dangerous fights than any of the current champions at 154. Erickson Lubin could probably beat Zayas, dog. He almost beat Fundora. Gave him a run for his money, dropped him, but his face couldn't hold through. You know, Sebastian Fundora, he's not a KO puncher, but he's an overwhelming. You know, Sebastian Fundora reminds me of a modern day version of Antonio Margarito. Like, he's the Zoomer version of Antonio Margarito. Just a tall, lengthy Mexican that just overwhelms you with a bunch of punches. He actually fights on the inside instead of using his height and his reach as an advantage, which he could very easily do, you know, if he just learns to, you know, box better, you know, more technical, more, you know. But anyway, I digress again. Virgil Ortiz, man, he's the truth. He truly is. And now we are all waiting in anticipation for Ortiz and Boots to have the showdown of 2026. That's going to be the biggest fight in 2026. If it even happens, though. If it even gets made. Because right now, there's a whole lot of drama with the contract, with the discussions. You know, they're arguing who's the A side. Oscar de la Hoya's up to his routine clownery, already saying, oh, you know, the cards are in our hands and, you know, we need favorable terms. Ortiz's manager came out with a tweet saying that, if we don't see 8 figures, don't even send us a contract. We won't even look at it. Something along those lines, which is absolutely ridiculous. I know what they're doing. And I'll get into that in a second. But, you know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I said this before Ortiz absolutely slaughtered Erickson Lubin. I said this long before that. I literally said that after Crawford beat Canelo. I said the next superstar in boxing is gonna be whoever wins a fight between Ortiz and Boots Ennis. And the reason I said that from the very beginning, early on, now that I mean, even if Canelo beat Crawford, we all know he's on his way out. Canelo can't do this forever. He's had an insane career, dog. Like, I don't know how many professional fights. This dude's been fighting since he was 15. You know, even if he had beat Crawford, he's on his way out. We need a new star in boxing. We need a new generation. You know what I'm saying? So, the reason I pick Ortiz and Boots, though, is because they're both likable guys. They're both likable boxers who can actually fucking put on entertaining fights. And that's something that, you know, it's rare. You know, we had Canelo. He's one of them. He's likable. He's entertaining. Although he's another guy. Again, he's another boxer that has so many haters. And again, just like Virgil, I don't understand, like, how you can even hate on this guy. Like, what is it because he's Mexican? Is that what it is? Y'all are hung up on a Mexican being the face of boxing? I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy. But, like, they're likable guys, you know? Like, Canelo, for instance, he's a good dad. You see him with wholesome videos of him and his kids. And, like, you know, he's always respectful to his opponents and to the audience and representing. You know, he's very patriotic. He's passionate. You know, when he says "Viva Mexico, cabrones," he's not just being patriotic. He also has his own tequila brand that's called "Viva Mexico, cabrones." So that's why he would shout that in his post fight. It's not because he's like, you know, I don't know, that there seems to be some kind of narrative that Canelo's like a racist or he's like I don't know. It's weird, man. There's a bunch of weirdos on the internet, obviously, but again, I don't know how certain fighters have haters. That's all I'm saying. You know? But Canelo was likable. Mayweather, not so much. Pacquiao was likable. Oscar de la Hoya, not so much. You know what I'm saying? So, It's rare that you have two young up-and-coming fighters. I don't even know if you could call them up-and-coming fighters, though. They're contenders, both of them. But you have two young cats, that can easily do this for like another, like another 8 years. They have a good 5, 6, 7, 8 years left, between both of them. So they're both likable and they're both entertaining fighters. That's the key. You know what I mean? They're both entertaining fighters. So it only makes logical sense that you have these two guys that are in the same freaking weight class fight each other to determine who is going to be the next representation of prize fighting, the next face of boxing. Now, as far as the Ortiz Lubin fight popped off last Saturday, as of this recording, I just want to say that I was surprised with how quickly Ortiz, dispatched Lubin like that. First of all, I wasn't expecting a knockout win. I was expecting Ortiz to beat Lubin, but I was not expecting a knockout. And the way he knocked him out too was very impressive. One thing about Ortiz that you seldom see in a lot of Mexican and Mexican American fighters is that even though he is a front foot fighter, he is an aggressive, high volume, high pressure fighter, but he's very, very educated in his movement and in his aggression. He's not like just winging punches and, just like, oh, I'm going to eat 3 punches so I can land one big shot. Like, no, Ortiz is very calculated, very methodical, even though it doesn't look like it, because he's just a whirlwind, man. He goes in there, and one thing that also impresses me so much about Ortiz is his ability to effectively cut off the ring. That's another thing, a lot of Mexican fighters, that quote-unquote Mexican style, it is limited. And it's one of those things that has hindered Mexican fighters in big fights, because that style can only take you so far. First of all, when you have that Mexican style, quote-unquote, you age out quicker. So your lifespan in the sport is a lot smaller. Your window of time is a lot shorter than other fighters, for one. And then two, when you fight a technical, skilled, smooth, slick fighter, you're gonna get outboxed in probably a boring fight too. You're gonna get outboxed, and that's your fault, because you're not making any modifications to your game. But Ortiz is different, man. Ortiz has that modification to his game. If you want to box him, he could box. If you want to fight him, boy, he could fight, as we saw. Ortiz is one of those cats that I've been excited for a long time, but his victory over Lubin has, substantially increased my enthusiasm for Virgil. Now, in a potential Virgil Boots fight, I still kind of low-key favor Boots, man. I gotta be honest. Because everything I just said about Virgil applies to Boots times 5. Boots is just so fucking fast and explosive and quick and agile and versatile. I wouldn't want to fight Boots, man. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to fight that man. The problem is, Boots is fucking big, too. I said that, during the build-up to the Canelo Crawford fight, I had alluded to it, when that big news story came out that Canelo was sparring with Boots Enos, and there was a leaked photo of them in sparring. I said it. I'm like, bro, Boots should be fighting Canelo instead of Crawford, because Boots is fucking big. That man looks like he should be fighting at 168 right now, not at 154. And I don't know how that man is making weight. I don't know how. I mean, and that's another reason why this fucking fight needs to happen right now. Like literally March, April, May 2026. No later, man. No later than May 2026. This fight needs to happen now before these guys outgrow this division. And they will outgrow this division. I don't know how they're still making weight now. You know, Virgil Ortiz looked like a fucking skeleton, man. During the last press conference for his fight with Lubin. He looked a little better in the weigh-in. But like there was like the final press conference they did or something like that. He looked like a meth addict, bro. Like he's been like a meth head. He looked all sucked up. I mean, I don't know how much longer both Virgil and Boots are gonna be at 154. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Virgil's team has stated that they have like maybe 2 fights at the very most left at 154. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if they only do one more fight at 154 and then jump to 160. Ortiz has already been hinting that he wants to move up to 160 already. He wants to fight Crawford. He wants to fight Terence Crawford. And in fact, there was a deal on the table that Turkey made for Ortiz and Crawford, but Crawford didn't want it because he wanted Canelo. Which, I mean, I can't blame him. He just made history beating Canelo, you know. So, be that as it may, yeah, Ortiz and Boots, I still kind of favor Boots. But man, you know, with what I saw from Ortiz and Lubin, here's the thing about Lubin. Let me just say this, because even before this fight even happened, you had so many haters on Twitter. Man, these haters have been getting to me lately, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, here's a tissue, Holmes. Damn, you're gonna start crying or what? These haters have been getting to me. Nah, listen. These haters, they've been getting to me lately. I'm not gonna lie. They've been getting on my nerves. Because even before Virgil and Lubin fought, people were already discrediting Lubin, saying, oh, Lubin is trash. He's a bum. He's a nobody. He's this. He's that. You know. And let me just say right now, first of all, the disrespect to Lubin is crazy. Because that's a dude who could fucking fight. He's a great fighter. He's a guy that, you know, Lubin reminds me of a modern version of Fernando Vargas. Like, you know, because Fernando Vargas had a similar career path where he was a hot, young prospect turned contender, and they threw his ass into the wolves. You know, same thing with Lubin. They just threw him to the wolves before he could even develop, you know. Like, Vargas, they threw him in there with Trinidad and De La Hoya, and he got fucked up, man. It was never the same again. And Lubin, same thing. He got in there with Charlo, knocked out in the first round, and just got the life beaten out of him, kind of, by Fundora. Not really. He almost beat Fundora, but they stopped it because Lubin's face was swole up. I mean, it looked like he got stung by like 50 bees. like he knocked down a beehive, and all the wasps fucked up his face, and he's allergic. That's how swollen that vato got. But that doesn't mean he's a shit fighter. You know, he's a great fighter. He's got power. He's got skill. He's a very, very good fighter. I think he'd beat Xander Zayas. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna just throw that out. I think he would beat Xander. I still do. Even after getting fucked up by Virgil, I still think he would probably beat Xander Zayas for that title. He almost beat Fundora, and Fundora is even better than Zayas, a stronger, more tougher opponent than Zayas, and he almost beat Fundora. Again, the only reason he lost is because his face got swole up like if a bunch of bees stung him. I think he would beat Zayas, homie. He's a good fighter, you know, but people were already discrediting him and downing him. So that way they could make it look like Ortiz just beat a tomato can and he ain't shit and he's being overhyped, which is ironic because these same haters are all over Boots, and Boots just knocked out Lima in one round. Who the fuck is Lima? I don't want to hear nobody say that Erickson Lubin was a nobody and that he wasn't any good. Lubin is a very good fighter. Very, very good fighter. And, you know, I want to say, too, shout out to the referee, because the referee, he had the wherewithal to stop the fight when he did, because boy, let me tell you, if that ref didn't stop it when he did, we could have seen a murder on live TV. And I'm not exaggerating. Go back and watch the replay. You know, Virgil, he has so much torque on his punches, dog, and he barely missed with a massive left hook. You know, when Lubin was clearly already out on his feet, he barely missed it. And the referee then jumped in and, you know, had Lubin hugging on him and shit to prevent him from falling. But yeah, that was good work by the ref. I was actually mad initially watching the fight live. I was actually mad at first. I got mad because I was like, man, this could have been a star-making knockout, but the fucking ref ruined it, stopping it too early, not letting Ortiz, you know, put the exclamation mark on that shit, you know, dropping him to the canvas. But then when I seen the replay and I seen Lubin was basically asleep on his feet, man. He was out. He was sleepwalking in there. And then I knew, I was like, damn, the referee actually did a good job, dog. He did a great job. He really protected Lubin, and dare I say it, damn near pretty much saved his life. Because we could have witnessed a murder on live TV if he did not stop it when he did. And maybe I'm being over dramatic, but this is boxing, man. This shit ain't no fucking joke. And you have a monster in there like Ortiz. We just had 2 Japanese cats just die in Japan, back-to-back boxers. You know, although to be honest with you, I think them Japanese cats, I just don't think they're built for this sport. You know what I mean? Like, they're good. They're great. Don't get me wrong. Like Inoue and Nakatani and all them cats, they're amazing fighters. But, like, physically, I don't know. There's just something about them. I feel like they're not really built for this. You feel me? Like, they're just a little too, I don't know. Anyway, you know, I'm hearing that Ortiz's team, they're bluffing. They're saying that Ortiz needs a favorable deal and this and that, and that the fight, the Oscar de la Hoya saying, I'm skeptical. Now I'm skeptical of the fight. But let me just say, what they're doing, they're trying to create a high demand for this fight. So what they're doing is they're making it seem, they're playing hard to get. They're acting like that hot chick that's hard to get, that's playing hard to get. You know what I mean? If you give her what you want, you know, she'll give you what you want at the end of the day. But right now, they're that hot chick that's playing hard to get. They're trying to get more on demand. They want the fans salivating for this fight, begging for this fight, and they want to, I honestly believe that they're trying to lure in Turkey so they could get that Saudi money. I think this is all a big ploy. Eddie Hearn might be in on it too. Eddie Hearn might be in on it. They literally, it would not surprise me. This is how shady boxing is. It would not surprise me if De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn already talked to each other and agreed, you know what? Let's make this shit a show. Let's act like we don't want this fight. Let's make it a charade. That way we lure out Big Daddy, Turkey, with them money bags. You know, we'll lure out our sugar daddy and he'll toss us them money bags and make this fight fucking, you know, multi-million-dollar extravaganza for us, for our pockets, for our bank accounts. Honestly, that's what I think they're doing. That's what I think they're doing. And that's a big problem with boxing now. You know, it already was a problem before Turkey even came in through the door with his money. It was already a problem. And now that fool is here, and clearly he's here to stay, now I believe promoters are going to act like this now. They're going to have a lot of pushback to try to lure their sugar daddy, which is Turkey al-Sheikh, to come in and be like, you know what, I give you money, you put fight Saudi Arabia, I give you money, lots of money, let's make this fight in Saudi Arabia, give you lots of money. That's a terrible accent. Terrible impersonation. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. but you know, I think that's what they're doing, and I hate it. For obvious reasons, I hate it. But also, Ortiz versus Boots is a fight that must happen in the United States. If this shit happens in Saudi Arabia, man, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna watch it. Of course, I'm gonna watch it, but it'll be a travesty. This is a fight that is absolutely made for Las Vegas. Big fight, big night, big event, pageantry. 2 American fighters, 1 Mexican American, the other African American. I mean, which by the way, I also want to say right now too, it's funny to me, I keep hearing these other talking heads and podcasters, guys like Sean Zeidel or whatever his name is, and Brad Mannix and Sergio Mora and other people that are in the business. They're really trying hard to manufacture a Mexican versus Black American rivalry in boxing. Like a Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry. They're trying hard now to manufacture a Mexican Black American rivalry in boxing, and it is so fucking cringe, man. Let me just say that right now. It is so cringe. The reason why Mexico and Puerto Rico have a quote-unquote rivalry in boxing is because there have been so many classic fights between Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. Now, you talk about Mexicans and Black Americans, the only classic fight that I could think of really is Chavez and Meldrick Taylor. And that fight was a classic, but it was also very controversial. And I mean, but the point is, there hasn't been like a lot of amazing classic fights between Mexicans and Black people, Black fighters. And the fact that they're trying to manufacture this new rivalry, let it happen organically is all I'm saying. If you want to make it a rivalry in boxing, okay, but let it happen organically. These motherfuckers came out talking about, oh, and we know when Mexicans and Black American fighters fight, it's a classic and the Pantheon and this and that. Like, are you kidding me, dog? This ain't Mexico, Puerto Rico, dog. That's an actual boxing rivalry. And even that one, I don't even like that one, to be honest, because even with that one, it's bullshit, because they count, like for instance, there'll be some random ass card in an auditorium, you know, and if it's a Mexican fighting some unknown cab driver from fucking Brooklyn, some Puerto Riqueño, a New Yorican that don't even know how to fight, they'll count that in the rivalry, and vice versa. There'll be a bunch of Puerto Rican fighters that beat up on Mexican tomato cans, and they add that to the record, the overall win-loss record between Mexico and Puerto Rico. So it's really cringe, and it's stupid. It's a marketing strategy. That's all it is. They're marketing ploys, marketing schemes to make more money. But yeah, I just had to talk about that briefly as well. That's really, really cringe. If you want that to be a rivalry, let it happen organically. Don't be talking about it like if, oh my God, there's been so many legendary fights, you know, between Mexicans and Black fighters. Come on, man. No, there hasn't. Relax. But anyway, yeah, man. You want to talk about a classic, legendary fight though between a Mexican American and a Black American fighter? Ortiz Boots could be that. And I hope this fight gets made. You know, when I see all these things online, all these, you know, with De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn and the managers getting involved and saying it's not gonna happen, pricing themselves out, playing hard to get, and all these things. This is the kind of shit that makes me fucking hate this sport and makes me hate boxing. And this is exactly the reason why I was excited about Turkey and Dana White creating a boxing league, dog. This is why I was excited for it. Boxing has needed an overhaul for so many years now, and the situation that's going on right now between the Boots camp and the Ortiz camp is a perfect example of why boxing does need a change. I just don't like the players that are being put in place. You know, Dana White, I just don't like the idea of that motherfucker being, you know, the chairman, the CEO, the booker of a boxing promotion. I just don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't know who else, but I don't like him being involved in this shit. I really don't. He's an MMA guy. I get it. He's always been a boxing fan his whole life and this, that, and the other. But I don't care. I just don't like him as a as a leader of a brand new boxing league. I don't know. I just don't like it. It just doesn't feel right to me. You know what I mean? I don't know the guy. I'm not saying I don't like Dana White personally. I don't know the guy. Obviously, I don't know any of them. But I'm just saying, you know, from my gut instinct tells me that Dana White should not be the one to run a boxing promotion. That's just me. Ortiz Lubin was a good fight. It was a fight that showed a lot of things. It taught us a lot of things about Ortiz. It taught us a lot of things about Lubin. And I want to say one thing before I sign off and get off of this fight. I want to say one thing. The commentary for Ortiz and Lubin was absolutely dreadful. And let me just say, I normally defend the commentary, especially on the part of Sergio the Latin Snake Mora. I usually defend them. You know, people have been saying that the DAZN commentary is trash for years now, and I usually defend them, especially Sergio Mora, because I'm a fan of his. I watched him on The Contender back in the day, his fights with Peter Manfredo and all those things. You know, I'm a fan of Mora. I like his insight as well. But boy, you fucked up, man. That commentary was terrible. Ortiz knocks out Erickson Lubin, and you had Sergio Mora's stupid ass screaming, "Oh, he just beat a shot fighter, guys. You know, Erickson Lubin doesn't have the same punch resistance that he used to have, and Ortiz took advantage and took care of that." What kind of stupid ass line is that, bro? You're trying to put over this guy. You're trying to put him over. He's gonna be putting groceries in your fridge for the next couple years on DAZN. He's the golden goose. You put him over. You don't tell people that he just not. I mean, like I said earlier in the beginning of this recording. You know, you already have haters already discrediting Virgil before the fight even happens. And now here you are telling the viewer that your star fighter on your network, DAZN, just beat a shot fighter who doesn't have the same punch resistance that he used to have. What kind of dumbass decision was that you made, dog? It's so stupid. It's like imagine in wrestling speak, imagine in WWE, you had Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker, take his streak, and, you know, the commentators were like, "Oh, you know, Brock Lesnar just broke the legendary streak of The Undertaker, but he beat a past his prime, old ass, could barely walk, having ass Undertaker. You know, it was, you know, it's a good win though, but he beat an old ass Undertaker that can't work anymore." Like, come on, dog. You know what I mean? Your job as a commentator is to put over the fighter. Even if it's true, you don't say that. Even if it is true, which it's not. I don't think that Lubin is a shot fighter. That was very tacky to say something like that as well. I don't think he's a shot fighter. I'll say it again. I'll say it again, bro. I think Lubin could probably beat Zayas. Xander Zayas for his paper title. I think he could beat him. I would pick him to beat him. That's just me. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there, guys. Hopefully, let's say a prayer all collectively as boxing fans that Ortiz and Boots gets made in 2026. No later than May. Fuck it. Give Ortiz the Cinco de Mayo dates already, homie. Fuck it.